Guys, today a full guide on Ellen Jo, where I talk about how her kit works, what her best themes are, what her best builds are in terms of calculations, and so on. But first I want to tell you that this video is sponsored by Zenless Zone Zero, so I thank them for this opportunity. Also, they're distributing 1600 Polychrome since they reached 50 million downloads, so make sure to download the game from my link in the description below. So, as the first limited character we get, she's of course a very strong unit, and probably the best character in the game. Specifically, she's a main DPS, her main role is to deal damage, and at the moment she's clearly the best one at that. However, she has quite a few mechanics that, if not fully understood, can really make her performance fluctuate and not that great. Specifically, if you believe you can just select her and start spamming the left button of your mouse to destroy opponents, you're just wrong, because the only thing Ellen will do in that situation is weak physical damage. As a baseline, she's an ice character, but to actually start dealing ice damage, she needs these little things here called charges. She can have up to 6 of these, and each of her basic attacks will consume one of them. If this occurs, the basic attack will deal ice damage and also get an extra 100% crit damage bonus, so it's pretty instrumental. But how do we get these charges to begin with? Well, two ways mainly. The first is her dash charge attack, which, as the word says, it's a charge attack that can be used only after a dash. This will deal ice damage and also instantly give Ellen 3 charges, which will be enough for a full string of 3 basic attacks from her. The interesting thing here is how it's best to pull off this dash charge attack. The simple way to do it is to simply hold the dash button and run around, and then follow it up with the charge attack against an enemy. This is quite easy, but it can also be inefficient in terms of animation time if you end up running around too much. As an alternative, you can dash twice rapidly and then follow it up with a charge attack again. By doing it this way, you won't start running, but you will simply dash and then charge attack, which minimizes the animation time required for this action. So no holding, just dash twice in any direction and then charge attack and you will be fine. The second way to obtain charges is her special, specifically a special used with at least 40 energy, which is the EX version. Using the normal version, which requires no energy, will simply deal some little ice damage and generate no charges, so it's useless. Meanwhile, the EX version will deal higher damage and also generate a charge. Of course, just one charge isn't enough to deal a full string of ice basic attacks with Ellen, but thankfully the skill mechanics come to the rescue. In fact, right after using her special, she can follow it up with the third basic attack of her string, which is also the final one. So she can use the special and then the finisher right after. Still, you're losing on the first 2 basic attacks of her string, but that's not the end of the world, because her third basic attacks is by far the strongest one. So even though she can't use the first 2 basic attacks this way, it's still a very optimized combo. Her special also has a stronger version, which can be attained if you have at least 80 energy. Specifically, by using the special a second time in this situation, you will deal an even stronger ice attack. This version of the special will still allow you to follow up with the third basic attack, so you can theoretically do more damage this way. However, it's worth mentioning that if you have just 80 energy, it might not be the smartest thing to consume it all this way. An alternative use would be using the special and then a third basic, and then a special again and another third basic. So instead of just using 2 specials right away, you divide the usages to get an extra basic out. The third alternative is when you have 120 energy, and so you can use double special basic and then special with another basic. Of course, this is the highest damage combination possible. Anyway, all of this begs the question, which one should I use, the dash charge or the specials to get the charges? And the answer is both. The dash charge is a bit slow, so it can feel clunky and inefficient if you use it in the main damage window, but still it generates 3 charges in total, which is a lot. The thing you can do is using the dash charges in the build-up part of your rotation when the opponent is not stunned yet. In fact, the main damage window only starts when the opponent is stunned, because that's when he can receive extra damage. You want to reach that point having 6 charges with Ellen in total, so you can do 2 full strings of basic attacks right away. To that, you want to add the special combinations to maximize Ellen's output in a single window and create a sequence where she's dealing a ton of damage. And this is all for the basic attacks things. Aside from this, she's of course got an ultimate move. This move is just as flashy as it is simple, as it will do a lot of ice damage and that's it. As such, it's something you can use at any point of your main damage window without thinking about it a lot. Still, remember, it's important to wait for the opponent to be stunned to use it so you can deal more damage. Team-wise, since Ellen is a main damage dealer, you want to surround her with characters that can support her the right way. In particular, she requires a teammate that either has the Ice attribute or same faction to get an Ice damage bonus. Now, as an Ice character, Ellen likes Ice teammates regardless of this passive because it allows the team to build up the Ice anomaly quite efficiently. But her benefiting from characters of the same faction as well makes her more flexible because it allows her to take advantage of supports like Rina. But it's worth noting that the effect only gets applied for one character and it doesn't get higher even if you have more than one teammate fitting these parameters. An exceptional free-to-play ally for her is Sukaku, an A-rank agent that is also present on her own banner. Sukaku is great because through her special, even at talent 0, she can provide attack bonuses and Ice damage bonuses for Ellen. Pay attention that the attack bonuses only get applied to Ellen if you switch to her through a quick assist or a chain attack, so the rotation must be pulled off in a very specific way. At talent level 4, her special also reduces the opponent's Ice resistance, so she's a really nice support. Her alternative is Rina, that through her passive can provide penetration bonuses for Ellen. She's nice, but not quite on the same level as Sukaku. For the third slot of the team, you want a stunner, so a character that can quickly fill the daze bar of the opponent. Characters like this are just instrumental, because without them it takes forever to stun the opponents, and as a result the team damage takes a huge hit. The strongest character for this role is Lycan, a standard S-rank Ice agent. This dude is very fast at applying daze on opponents while also increasing the damage multiplier they have while stunned and applying Ice resistance reduction to them, so it's a perfect ally for Ellen. An alternative here is Colita, another standard S-rank agent that doesn't quite provide the same supportive buffs as Lycan, but is still very fast at applying daze and also increases the chain attack damage of the team. The free-to-play A-rank agent alternative here is Ambi, that is definitely much weaker compared to Lycan, but still a nice option overall. She's the character I used for testing alongside Sukaku and of course Ellen. In terms of team rotation, there isn't a fixed structure in the build-up specifically, because what you want to do essentially is build up the energy for your team and fill the daze bar of the opponents. For Ellen in particular, you want to get her charges before the main damage window starts, as I mentioned earlier, so I really suggest you to do the dash charges in this process. The other crucial aspect of this process is Soldier 11's special, which is the single ability that will generate the most daze on the opponents. So do your thing and get the opponents to near 100% daze bar. It's important to use Ellen to start the chain effects, because that way you'll be able to switch to Sukaku to use her Earth chain ability, which by the way will also activate all of her buffs for Ellen, and then switch to Ellen right away to deal the final chain attack and remain with her on field to do the rest of the combo. If you initiate the chain attacks with any other character, the chain won't be lined up in a way you can switch from Sukaku to Ellen directly, meaning that you won't be able to get the attack buff from Sukaku unless you start the chain attacks with Ellen. After that, with Ellen, you do the stuff that I mentioned before in the video, so ultimate if you have it ready, consume the charges to use the Ice basic attacks, and then the EX special combinations. Of course, in real scenarios, not everything might go as planned, so these are just broad guidelines that you have to keep in mind if you want to optimize your damage. As the Bang Boo for your teams, you want one that deals Ice damage, so either Penguin Boo is a free-to-play option or Shark Boo is a more premium option. Now, for her builds, regarding her set specifically, she has a lot of options, because in this game a lot of sets give pretty versatile damage bonuses. For example, the Puffer set that gives penetration and ultimate damage bonuses, the Woodpecker set that gives crit rate and attack percent, the Hormone set that gives attack percent, and the Polar set that gives Ice damage bonuses. All of these are good for Ellen, and specifically all the possible combination of these are pretty similar in terms of damage output. Personally, I suggest you to use the combination that has the best substats. Regarding the main stats, for the slot 4 you want either crit rate or crit damage, crit rate if you have a crit damage weapon, or crit damage if you have a crit rate weapon. For slot 5 you want either penetration or Ice damage bonus, they're pretty similar in terms of damage output. And lastly, for slot 6 you definitely want attack percent. Regarding the weapons, the S-rank options that mainly provide damage oriented bonuses are her best choices. Specifically, her signature, the Deep Sea Visitor, and the Brimstone are the ones that work best for her. Alternatively, as a free-to-play option, the Starlight Engine, that all things considered is pretty close to the S-rank options in terms of damage. And I'm done for today. I want to thank I Am Ravenous for helping for this video, because he's a friend of mine, Theory Crafter, and he provided the calculations that you've seen in the video. I haven't had the time to do theory crafting myself for this game, but he has, so if you want more of this, go check his channel. Bye bye.